life right now getting this backpack. Mind you, my flight leaves in 3 and a bit hours. Oh dear. Welcome back to Candid Tapes, a showcase of life on Earth. Human behavior observed through a sociological, psychological, and philosophical lens. This tape's solo adventure took me to the Dolomites, a mountain range in the Italian Alps. In similar fashion to the side quest I undertook when climbing Mount Fuji 2 years ago, I'm not entirely sure what sent me down this particular path, but I know that something planted the seed, and harvest was approaching. In recent months, I've found myself pursuing peace through various means, with spending time in nature being one of the main routes. I find that hiking, especially solo, creates a space for reflection and personal development through long periods of silence, interrupted only by the intermittent sounds of nature. To me, the mountains are the closest thing we can experience to a primitive life. A reminder of a time when humans lived in caves, hunted, gathered, and existed in much closer harmony with the natural world. While I didn't participate in any activities along those lines, I still feel as though I took a great deal from the experience regardless. Traveling to see what can essentially be described as natural furniture, landmarks that have witnessed hundreds of generations of humans pass through. Sights that have seen more people than I will ever meet in my entire lifetime, serving as a reminder that our time here is limited, while these spaces will exist for far closer to forever than I or any memory of me likely ever will. Over the course of this documentary, I'll be going into some detail regarding my personal observations, reflections, and experiences over the 6 nights I spent in the mountains. This is Candid Tapes, a Dolomites documentary. I think as time goes on, one habit more and more people should adopt is putting themselves in situations where they're forced to experience delayed gratification. In today's world, where everything is tailored for convenience, it's no secret that the average person, with emphasis on my Gen Zs and onwards, has gradually lost the patience we once had. We used to be willing to wait for an internet page to load. We were comfortable doing things the long way, instead of constantly searching for shortcuts. As someone who's experienced this firsthand, one of the reasons I wanted to bring hiking into my adult life was because it forces you to put yourself into a position where patience isn't optional. In many cases, engaging in prolonged discomfort in order to reach an end goal. Unfortunately for me, I've always struggled to stick with things I'm not immediately good at. So hiking became a way of challenging that part of myself. I like to think about these types of hikes, the climb from the bottom to the summit, like a metaphor for so many pursuits in life. Whether it's buying a house, earning a university degree, building a career, or simply becoming a better version of yourself. None of these things happen overnight. You can't race to the top and expect to thrive. In a way, the journey prepares you for the reward waiting at the end. Breaks are important. Without them, burnout and fatigue are inevitable. In 2009, Miley Cyrus said, "It ain't about how fast I get there." And as much as I used to hate that song, it served as a reminder that the universe operates on a different timeline to the one that we try to impose on it. Fate is always unfolding, but we rarely control when things will happen. Allowing ourselves to accept that ultimately, control is out of our hands, and understanding that there's no shame in slowing down or taking a break is the first step to finding peace with the process. Every time I've reached the top of a hike, it's made every difficult step worthwhile. The suffering fades, but the satisfaction stays, all serving as a reminder that patience really is one of life's greatest virtues. More often than not, the rewards you reap from prolonged struggle outweigh the discomfort it took to get there. Sometimes the satisfaction of knowing you endured is enough on its own, and everything else is simply a bonus. The view, the meal afterwards, the photos, the job, the house, the money, the new life. But from another perspective, hiking also reminds us to simply slow down. A while ago, I found myself in one of those moments where my mind was racing a mile a minute, but this time, it almost felt like there was a voice that wasn't my own, quietly repeating one simple phrase: slow down. Since then, I've found myself coming back to those words whenever life starts moving too fast. They've become a small mantra that helps keep me grounded. Slow down. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is stop for a moment, catch your breath, and then continue the climb.
Bro, this hill, it doesn't stop, bro. I've been walking for flipping 40 days and 40 nights, and it's still going. Ugh.
One of the things that many people who have taken part in a nature walk, hike, things of that nature will understand is the subtle camaraderie shared amongst those engaging in the same activity. The nods, the greetings, the small talk, all things that would never be commonplace back home, obviously dependent on where you're from. I realized that socially, one of the things that matters most is context. There truly is a time and place for everything, because these same people that you'll happily find yourself engaging with on these hikes would, in another life, be the very people you wouldn't think twice about walking past in the streets of your hometown. I think there's a certain level of familiarity felt between strangers in these environments. The playing field is level. No one has any enemies in the mountains. I spoke in the first Candid Talks video I made last year about the human search for connection through hype. Psychologically, humans require connection, community. In a world where such is discouraged through online propaganda and hyper-individualistic ways of living, which we don't need to get too deep into right now, it only makes sense that the average person feels that sense of community when they put their phones away and look up. Multitudes of people all engaging in a shared activity, voluntarily. This shared purpose naturally creates the community that people often don't even realize they crave. I feel like this serves as proof, to an extent, that a lot of our outward social behavior isn't necessarily our truest self. Most of the way we outwardly express ourselves is dictated by context. In the mountains, it almost feels rude to not greet the people you walk past. You realize quickly that there is no hierarchy out there. No one knows your salary, degree, political views, follower count. The only thing everyone cares about is getting to the top. Maybe this could be a metaphor for how the rat race really should be. Instead of the crabs in a bucket mentality that can be observed in many of the creative scenes, where the only thing that seems to matter is numbers. Perhaps people's abilities and the ways in which they can help one another should be the average person's biggest focus. At the end of the day, and this isn't an original thought, no one will stand up at the next person's funeral and praise them for how many people they convinced to hit the follow button. Hikers naturally almost always move to the side for one another, thanking their fellow hikers. No competitive undercurrent. Everyone understands that they'll reach the top eventually. Everyone understands that they're on their own timeline. Naturally, I've digressed. Sometimes, all a person needs is an expression of acknowledgement, something passed to them by another person to show that they are seen and understood. When going through hardship, what does the average person want more than to feel seen, heard, and understood? That, more than anything, is often the encouragement needed to keep going. The hiking nod is the trademark symbol for this feeling, and it works every time. A small gesture that, while maybe not intentional, says, I see you, I understand, keep going. For me, the most difficult hike I completed during the week was CIME. I'd taken the 445 bus from Cortina d'Ampezzo town centre with many other strangers with the intention of taking the 44 bus to the trailhead and embarking on the trek from there. However, a combination of factors resulted in myself and a small group of others finding ourselves stranded at a bus stop close to Lago di Landro, a changeover stop on the way to Rifugio Aronzo, one of the main trailheads for arguably the most popular hike in the region, CIME. After an hour of what felt like bargaining with fate through attempts at arranging Ubers and taxis, hitchhiking, and asking passers-by if they had any space in their vehicles, we eventually found ourselves beginning our journey from one of the main viewpoints, unsure exactly where we were going, hoping the end result would be worth it. Differences in pace meant that the group became separated at various points throughout the hike, all of us having the opportunity to experience the mountains slightly differently. But through this, the main takeaway became clear. No matter how concrete you feel your plans are, always move with the understanding that life can, and sometimes will, push you off your course to places you wouldn't have seen yourself exploring otherwise. Sometimes those places are uncomfortable, inconvenient, difficult to navigate, but at the end of the day, there is something incredibly rewarding about being able to look back and say, I did that, I made it through. Sometimes the inconvenience is the memory in and of itself. And in times like this, I was reminded that inconvenience and misfortune may sound synonymous at first glance, but once the surface has been cracked, it becomes clear that they are not always the same thing. Sometimes, what feels like an interruption in the moment becomes the very thing you remember most.
Chat to him, Sophie. Talk to him. You gonna say something?
Yeah, I've put probably a quarter of this bottle on.
Yeah, literally, I noticed. I was like, what SPF is that?
50.
50.
50, yeah, you're chilling.
I don't know. Do you know him? He goes like lobster whenever.
Jokes. Oh man.
I love Weatherspoons. I just get like a double scoop there. Like, forget about Big Ben, forget about like London Bridge, go straight to Weatherspoons.
Everywhere.
Go to Brixton Weatherspoons. Even I don't stay in there. Yeah.
Sort of gotta get spiked in there.
Oh, like the definition of ends. Do you know what ends means?
Ends? Low-key, I need some more slang for my dictionary, guys.
We'll give you some South London slang.
Ends is like the hood, isn't it?
Ends
Basically.
is like the hood, yeah.
Ends? Or...
Yeah.
Like, what ends you from? What hood you from?
You ever been asked that?
No, I haven't. Nah. I mean, to be fair, I grew up in Cardiff, so yeah.
I got asked too many times. I'm like, why do you think I'm from Ends, bro? Look at me. I'm not carrying a ZK on me. I can't, stop asking me questions.
Are sket and slag.
Sket and slag are kind of the same thing. Like, they just mean like it's like an insult for a woman.
Twat, kappa.
Twat's a great word. I love using twat.
How you feeling, guys?
A little bit tired. Hungry, bro.
Yeah. What we squanning? Granola. Ham and cheese toasty. What is that? A cookie. Nice, man.
I ain't too bad. I see what smells like.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I don't know if I can do it. I think I might have like elevation sickness.
Yeah. The oxygen gets thinner up here.
Fucking nice. Fucking evolve.
We chilling. We're
You
gonna be
guys
up there in no time.
Well, if I don't make it.
That or we die. We die. I'm getting up there.
Wait,
It's
what's your
far not
guys'
to get to the top, bro. Imagine you just die. I'd make sure I get there.
I'm not gonna die.
Do you guys want to?
I'm chilling.
Do you guys want to give me your Instagram in case I die?
Oh yeah,
Don't make it? Here, you can put it in the notes app.
Always hear a car wherever I go, but here you just hear like the walls are wind.
Yeah.
You get
Birds.
that?
Yeah, I got that. This is the documentary. This actually is a documentary. It's gonna be called the Dolomites documentary.
It's gonna be on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. For sure.
I'm gonna be on telly.
Yes, sir.
You prove you're not just LARPing.
Just flipping. These fake ass hikers just.
We're LARPers.
I'd love a crack.
God, 5 kilometers. Halfway through.
Halfway through?
In about an hour and a half with 500 meters elevation.
Fairs, an hour and a
I
half.
think we're about 2,000 meters, which is pretty high.
Is it really high up? Is it up there? Yeah, you have to reach.
No.
That's fine. Over there. Oh, fun.
That's flat,
It's at least 20 minutes.
zigzag.
That'll take
Oh,
me
zigzag.
some.
Yeah. This was the easiest.
Easiest.
It was the easiest. Yeah.
Fucking cry.
You got that hiker's high.
Fucking
Yeah.
Oh my god, I kill myself.
What'd you think?
That's worth it. It always is. Those peaks are fucking crazy.
Yeah, I know, they look insane. Yay. Alright, let's do this.
finishing my meal prep, I'll put on a movie. As far as ticking things off my watch list goes, I'm terrible at it. This Sunday was no different. After spending a brief period scrolling through Letterboxd's movies everyone should watch at least once during their lifetime list, I landed on a 1952 film directed by Akira Kurosawa called Ikiru, a story about a man who spent 30 years working an office job with a retirement on the horizon, only to be diagnosed with stomach cancer and given no more than 6 months to live. The following 2-hour cinematic journey took me down various philosophical paths centered around achieving goals, finding purpose, and life's meaning. During the writing process for this tape, I didn't have much to say beyond one idea that this trip reaffirmed for me: that life is so much more than the time we spend engaging in the grand scheme of things, mundane, repetitive activities. This movie for me only served to reinforce this idea. We're here for no more than a blip. Life is short. The world is vast. The idea that we have access to the beautiful, poetic chaos of life and nature, yet we choose to spend so much of the little time we have to appreciate it shut away indoors, shakes me every time it crosses my mind. The fact that for most people it isn't even a choice, but simply the cards life has dealt them, is even more jarring. When you look at the scale of the world, let alone the universe, life is too short for even 2 days to be spent doing exactly the same thing, let alone a 40-year career. For most of us, within 3 generations, maybe less, will likely be forgotten, no longer remembered. With this considered, why should it be considered a crime not to be so routine-driven in a system that defines us by what we do for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, with only 2 days left to recover before doing it all again? Someone recently put into words an idea that's been on my mind since I was a preteen: quantum immortality. The theory suggests that every quantum event branches into multiple universes. In a life or death situation, there would theoretically be branches where you die and branches where you survive. Since you can only be conscious in the branches where you're alive, your subjective experience would always continue in the surviving branch. In other words, all those times you lived through a near-death experience, you were given a second chance. In another reality, however, your time in this realm came to an end. Sit with that. You were granted another chance at life after fate could have so easily taken you out. Yet as a result, you continue living a life that deep down you know isn't for you. Kanji Watanabe, the protagonist of Ikiru, wasn't necessarily given a second chance at life, but maybe he was given the next best thing. Realization that none of this is permanent. Things will change, and people will move on. People will forget. No one was coming to save him but himself. To me, the film highlighted the age-old question: if you were to pass away tomorrow, would you have been satisfied with the life you'd lived? This is why I'm always enamored by people who, in my mind, live their lives as if it's their second time existing. They really don't care, even the ones who live recklessly, because at least when all is said and done, they'll have lived knowing that they did not just exist, but that they truly did live.